Hi, I'm Dan Whittaker, a head coach here at the Impact Zone Golf Academy based at Altrincham Driving Range in Cheshire. I'm here today to talk to you about the importance of your balance within your posture and how to get yourself in the correct posture to avoid common swing faults which I often see with students. Now, there tends to be a variety of postures that people will get into. There tends to be two main faults, and then obviously there is the correct one that we want to try and employ. The first fault that we tend to see is more with a higher handicapper is that we get to see excess knee flex here, which then means that all of the pressure is going through the thighs, and then there isn't enough bending forward or tilting from the pelvis region here, so the upper body tends to curve a little bit. Now, the problem with this posture is that because there's so much knee flex here and there hasn't been any forward bending from the hips themselves, you tend to see that the player will straighten the legs a touch in the backswing and then bend more forwards. Now, this obviously creates a fair few problems. There isn't enough hip turn because there isn't anywhere for the hips to move to because the weight's already been in the heels. So the weight's gone onto the toes. The head's gone forwards, which then tries to, in order to try and get the arms to go upwards. This then gets the body into a trapped position at the top of the backswing, so they're then going to have to step back out of it in order to hit the golf ball. So the spine is always moving in this relation, it's going there relative to the golf ball. So it becomes very difficult for that type of player to actually hit the ball with some shaft lean at impact or to create the correct turning motion of the pelvis in the backswing. The other motion I tend to see is that people try to get into this military erect posture, very akin to what Adam Scott used to do about 8 years ago. So what they get to work on is the common thing that I hear is they try and imagine that they are getting the three parts of their spine on this golf shaft. So they get the back of the head, in between the shoulder blades, and the base of the spine. And then what they then do is bend forwards, keeping all these three bits on the golf shaft at all times. Now this puts a tremendous amount of strain on the hamstrings, and then they add a tiny bit of knee flex. Now this has this military erect position where the lower back is almost sucked inwards and isn't flat. Another issue is that they're looking down at the golf ball, down the cheekbones or down the nose. So what they'll then do is, in order to flatten the back out, they'll drop down. And the second reason for that is that their eyes want to look over the golf ball. So this player will have a tendency to want to drop down in the backswing and lose height, or will struggle to turn and make a more arms-driven backswing, which ends up being very upright. Both of those faults are primarily caused by the address position. Now, what we're actually looking for in the address position is that we're bending forwards from the pelvis here, okay, and from there we are getting the lower back flat, but the shoulders curved. So the shoulders are obviously over in this position here, with the lower back flat there. This then means I'm in a very athletic position to be able to turn. My weight's on the balls of my feet, so that during the backswing I can move my weight into the right heel. So the weight moves into the right heel during the backswing and allows us to get maximum turn of the hips. You get the correct depth of turn. Now, this all stems from where the weight is distributed this way across the feet and where the back is located relative to the pelvis. A great thing for a lot of people to work on for this is to feel that their belly button is slightly moving in towards their spine in the address position. Now this actually activates the internal muscles, helps to flatten the back out, not this way, pushing the stomach out, but almost feeling like the belly button's pulling in, flattens the back here, activates the internal muscles, which then means it adds some stability to the pelvis, but also activates the internal muscles within the pelvic region, making it much easier to be able to make the correct turn. Now there's an exercise on this that is going to follow on. See now, here using the Swiss ball, I'm going to place the Swiss ball behind me in this region, and what I'm going to do is get my backside against the Swiss ball from here. So then what I will do is put my arms across the centre of my body, I'm going to pull my belly button in towards my spine. So this is activating my glute muscles very slightly against the ball. And what I'm going to do is my weight's now on the balls of my feet. I'm then going to turn and feel my right hip turn against the ball and almost feel like it's semi-working the ball towards the target. But the idea is that I'm turning into this, so I feel my weight loading into my right heel as my left shoulder has stretched across. But it's very easy to get this correct and work at these positions, whereas if you were here, can you imagine, it's almost impossible to make that turn. In that exercise there, you can see how I was turning against the Swiss ball. This is a great exercise for everybody to work on because it really gets that pelvis turning properly, but you can also feel that when you activate the belly button muscles, they just slightly pushes that pelvis into the correct position. Another great exercise, a pair of balance cushions like this. You can see the two cushions there. Now what I would do is get myself into the address position. Now, depending on where my weight is how balanced I'm going to be relative to these cushions. Too much knee flex, I'm working forward. Too much weight, back, I'm falling. So you can see I'm going to really work internally to maintain my balance. So we can see that this helps to get the internal muscles working correctly. This is also a great way to learn how to turn the hips properly in the backswing because you're using the cushions and you're making sure that you're working at the balance and the internal muscles to create the balance as your weight has moved in towards your right heel and the balance is on the inside of the left toe box. So this means that you're creating the balance internally, working at the correct internal muscles, but also working at where the weight is and actually using all of the tiny muscles within the body to enable you to get the correct balance at the top of the backswing. This is a great system to use to be able to learn how to make that turn, but making that turn. I do hope you've enjoyed this video about how to get into the correct setup position and the importance of the posture relating to a couple of little swing faults that we tend to see. If you'd like to hear more from myself, please visit my website, which is www.danwhitakergolf.com, or follow me on Twitter or like my Facebook page. All of these are on the links below the page. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to speaking with you very soon.